Thank you, Reverend. The House will come to order. Please join Representative Lindsay in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Members, please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Shebel, please call the roll.
Representatives Amabile, Bacon, Representative Bacon is excused. Baisley, Benavides, Benavides is excused. Burnett, seen her either. Rep Burnett's excused. Byrd, Bockenfeld, Basenecker, Bradfield, Bradfield is excused. Caraveo,
Here.
Carver, Catlin, Cutter, Doherty, she's here. Duran is here. Esgar, not here yet. Esgar is excused. Exum, Froelich, Geithner, not here either yet. Geithner is excused. Gonzalez Gutierrez is excused. Gray, Representative Gray, excused. Hanks,
Here.
Herod, oh Herod, Herod's excused. Holtorf, Putin, okay. Putin's excused. Judah, Kennedy, Kip, I just saw Kip, there she is. Larson, Lindsay, Lantine, Luck, Lynch,
Here.
McCluskey. Have we seen McCluskey? McCluskey is excused. McCormick, McKean, 72. McLaughlin, Michelson Janae, Mullica, Neville, Ortiz, Pelton,
Here.
Pico,
Here.
Ransom, Rich, Ricks, Roberts, Sandridge, Sirota, Snyder, Soper,
Here.
You have John
Sullivan,
shoot over your priority list for the.
Tipper,
I'll double check.
Tatone,
Here.
Valdez A, Valdez D, Van Beber,
Here.
Van Winkle, Weissman, Will, Williams,
Here.
Woodrow, Woog, Young, Mr. Speaker. All right, we had. Geithner came in. Benavides came in. Bacon. Gillespie. I think that's everyone.
With 58 present and 7 excused, we have a quorum. Representative Lindsay.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the Journal of Friday, February 5th, 2022 be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
Thank you, Representative Lindsay. Members, you have heard the motion that the journal be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no.
No.
Ayes have it. The motion is approved. Announcements and introductions. Representative Byrd.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I know you waited for this all weekend because today is Monday, and if it is Monday, it is finance. So today we'll be meeting at 1:30, again in House Committee Room 112. We will hear the following 5 bills: House Bill 1138, House Bill 1051, House Bill 1149, House Bill 1098, and House Bill 1126.
Representative Michelson Janae.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And if it's Monday, it's not Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services. However, tomorrow, Tuesday, we will be meeting upon adjournment. Please pay attention, Public and Behavioral Health and Human Services. We will be meeting upon adjournment instead of 1:30. We will be meeting in room 112 as usual. Upon adjournment, we will be hearing 3 bills.
Representative McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Agriculture, Livestock, and Water Committee members, we will be meeting at 1:30 today in room 107 and hear Senate Joint Resolution 2, House Bill 1151, and House Bill 1148. See you then.
Representative Exum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. House and Transportation Local Government, tomorrow we'll be hearing 2 bills upon adjournment and not in the afternoon. House Bill 1242, myself and Representative Kipp, and in House Bill 1223, Representative Kipp and Representative Rich will be heard tomorrow upon adjournment and not in the afternoon. So make your adjustments. Thank you.
Representative Kennedy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of House, State, Civic, Military, and Veterans Affairs, we have 3 bills up at 1:30 today: House Bill 1105, House Bill 1106, and House Bill 1145. Please also note there will be a room change. On the calendar it says we're in LSBA, but we're actually moving to the Old State Library. So once again, State Affairs, 1:30, Old State Library. Thank you.
Representative Weissman.
Thank you, and like some of my committee chair colleagues, this is an announcement ahead of tomorrow. Judiciary, tomorrow we will meet on adjournment time block. We will not meet in the afternoon. On adjournment, we'll be in 107 downstairs to hear 3 bills, 1257, Senate Bill 91, and 1237. I'll make this announcement again tomorrow. It will be in tomorrow's calendar. Thanks.
Any other announcements or introductions? Seeing none, the next order of business is third reading of bills, final passage. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to House Bill 1049.
House Bill 1049 by Representatives Bacon and Ricks, also Senators Pedersen and Bridges, concerning prohibiting a post-secondary institution from making payment of an outstanding balance on a student's account on condition of issuing the student's documents.
Majority Leader Eskar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1049 on third reading, final passage.
The question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1049 on third reading and final passage. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. For those participating online, Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Hanks, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Hanks votes no. Representative Pico, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Pico votes no. Representative Geithner, or Mr. Assistant Minority Leader, how do you vote?
No.
Assistant Minority Leader votes no. Representative Lynch, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Lynch votes no. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Soper votes no. Representative Pelton, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Pelton votes no. Representative Van Beber, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Van Beber votes no. Representative Caraveo, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Caraveo votes yes. Representative Titone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Titone votes yes. Please, Representative Bacon. It's a $4.59 fine, Representative Bacon. Please close the machine. With 40 aye votes, 24 no votes, and 1 excused, House Bill 1049 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Caravero, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of the House Bill 1038.
House Bill 1038 by Representatives Doherty and Van Beber, also Senators Moreno and Gardner, concerning client-directed legal representation for youth in court proceedings for youth.
Majority Leader Esker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1038 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1038 on third reading and final passage. See no further discussion. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Williams votes yes. Representative Hanks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Hanks votes yes. Representative Pico, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Pico votes yes. Assistant Minority Leader Geithner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Assistant Minority Leader Geithner votes yes. Representative Lynch, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lynch votes yes. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Soper votes yes. Representative Pelton, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Pelton votes yes. Representative Van Beber, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Van Beber votes yes. Representative Caraveo, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Caraveo votes yes. Representative Titone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Titone votes yes. Please close the machine. With 64 aye votes, 0 no votes, and 1 excuse, House Bill 1038 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Pico, Pelton, Titone, co-sponsor. Soper, Lynch, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of the House Bill 1165.
House Bill 1165 by Representative Snyder and Soper, also Senators Lee and Gardner, concerning implementation of the Committee on Legal Services recommendation in the connection with legislative review of state agencies' rules.
Majority Leader Esker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1165 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1165 on third reading and final passage. See no further discussion. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Williams votes yes. Representative Hanks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Hanks votes yes. Representative Pico, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Pico votes yes. Assistant Minority Leader Geithner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Assistant Minority Leader Geithner votes yes. Representative Lynch, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lynch votes yes. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Soper votes yes. Representative Pelton, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Pelton votes yes. Representative Van Beber, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Van Beber votes yes. Representative Caraveo, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Caraveo votes yes. Representative Titone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Titone votes yes. Please close the machine. With 62 aye votes, 2 no votes, and 1 excused, House Bill 1165 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of Senate Bill 15.
Senate Bill 15 by Senator Holbert, also Representative Titone, concerning representation of Douglas County on the Board of Directors of the Urban Drainage and Flood Control District.
Majority Leader Esker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move Senate Bill 15 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 15 on third reading and final passage. See no further discussion. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Williams votes yes. Representative Hanks, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Hanks votes yes. Representative Pico, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Pico votes yes. Assistant Minority Leader Geithner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Assistant Minority Leader Geithner votes yes. Representative Lynch, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lynch votes yes. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Soper votes yes. Representative Pelton, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Pelton votes yes. Representative Van Beber, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Van Beber votes yes. Representative Caraveo, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Caraveo votes yes. Representative Titone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Titone votes yes. Please close the machine. With 64 aye votes, 0 no votes, and 1 excused, Senate Bill 15 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Pico, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of House Bill 1153.
House Bill 1153 by Representatives Tipper and Esgar, also Senators Bridges and Moreno, concerning affirming parentage by adoption for a person who did not give birth when the child is conceived as a result of assisted reproduction.
Majority Leader Esgar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1153 on third reading and final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1153 on third reading and final passage. See no further discussion. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Hanks, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Hanks votes no. Representative Pico, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Pico votes no. Assistant Minority Leader Geithner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Assistant Minority Leader Geithner votes yes. Representative Lynch, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Lynch votes yes. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Soper votes yes. Representative Pelton, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Pelton votes yes. Representative Van Beber, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Van Beber votes yes. Representative Caraveo, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Caraveo votes yes. Representative Titone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Titone votes yes. Please close the machine. With 53 aye votes, 11 no votes, and 1 excused, House Bill 1153 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Caraveo, Titone, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. Mr. Shebel, please read the title of House Bill 1086.
House Bill 1086 by Representative Sullivan and Bacon, also Senators Fields and Jaquez Lewis, concerning prohibiting openly carrying firearms at a voting location.
Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move House Bill 1086 on third reading, final passage.
Question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1086 on third reading and final passage. See no further discussion. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Hanks, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Hanks votes no. Representative Pico, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Pico votes no. Assistant Minority Leader Geithner, how do you vote?
No.
Assistant Minority Leader Geithner votes no. Representative Lynch, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Lynch votes no. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Soper votes no. Representative Pelton, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Pelton votes no. Representative Van Beber, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Van Beber votes no. Representative Caraveo, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Caraveo votes yes. Representative Titone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Titone votes yes. Please close the machine. With 40 aye votes, 24 no votes, and 1 excused, House Bill 1086 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Representative Caraveo, co-sponsor. Representative Titone, co-sponsor. Please close the machine. That brings us to General Order, second reading of bills. Representative Amable. Members, you have heard the motion. Seeing no objection, Representative Amable will take the chair.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee reports are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader. The coat rule is relaxed. So, first up, we have House Bill 22-1032 by Representatives Bockenfeld and Doherty. Please read the title.
House Bill 1032 by Representatives Bockenfeld and Doherty, also Senator Kirkmeyer, concerning jury duty postponement for a student enrolled in an institution of higher education outside the state of Colorado.
Representative Bockenfeld.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 1032 is a constituent bill. What it does is, first of all, there is no
Correct.
There is no committee report. I'd like to move the bill. I'd like to move House Bill 1032.
That's a proper motion, so moved. To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sorry about the false start.
Me too.
Okay, again, this bill is a constituent bill. It was requested by a constituent. And what it does is it allows a Colorado student who is enrolled in an institution of higher education, that could be a university, it could also be a trade school, or any institution of higher education, in the state of outside of the state of Colorado, to have the right to a jury postponement of up to 12 months. Current law says that you can have a jury postponement up to 6 months. And what this bill does is it gives that flexibility, and it is permissive to the jury commissioner to allow, in certain cases, up to 12 months if a student is out of state.
Representative Doherty.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just to further clarify, we're not mandating the jury commissioner do anything. This is just a tool they can use to hopefully give some of our out-of-state students who might not make it back a little extra time and flexibility. So thank you.
I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1032. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay. The measure passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1095 until Friday, March 4th.
Seeing no objection, the bill will be laid over. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1211 to the end of the second reading calendar today.
Seeing no objection, the bill will be laid over. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1228 until tomorrow, March 1st.
Seeing no objection, the bill will be laid over. Okay. Thanks. You're up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you. Okay.
Representative Woodrow.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an honor to serve with you.
It's an honor to serve with you.
Good morning, members. I move Senate Bill 019.
Please read the title of Senate Bill 019.
Senate Bill 19 by Senator Winter, also Representative Woodrow, concerning access to automatically suppressed court records of eviction proceedings. Wow, sorry.
Representative Woodrow.
We're all doing great on this Monday morning. I move Senate Bill 019.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All right, so wonderful to see everyone this morning. I present Senate Bill 019, clarifying access to eviction court records. Yeah. Colleagues, 2 sessions ago, we passed House Bill 201009, a bill that limited access to eviction court filings. It was a really great piece of legislation as it made it harder for tenant screening companies to look up pending eviction filings and then use those pending filings to deny rentals to otherwise worthy residents. Yet, sometimes even the most well-intentioned bills have unintended consequences. In this instance, by limiting access to these records, we've actually prevented lawyers on both sides of the V from being able to review those records prior to deciding whether or not to take on a case. It's a catch-22. Lawyers need to review court filings before agreeing to take on representation, yet, because of 201009, they can't review the file unless they file a formal appearance first. SB 019 is a simple fix. It allows lawyers considering taking on the defense or prosecution of one of these cases the ability to access these otherwise sealed records so they can properly evaluate the matter. The bill passed the Senate unanimously. They had one amendment allowing mediators the ability to access these records prior to mediation. As a practicing attorney, you will always hear me sing the praises of mediation, and so the Senate amendment, it was great. The bill passed the House Judiciary Committee 8-3. It's a good bill, a needed fix, and I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 19. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 19 passes. Please read the title of Senate Bill 24.
Senate Bill 24 by Senators Fields and Cook, also Representatives Roberts and Soper, concerning changes to strengthen the crime of intimidating a witness.
Representative Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move Senate Bill 24, and there are no committee reports.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Colleagues, Senate Bill 24 is a bill that expands the already existing crime of intimidating a witness to make sure that we are encompassing all people who may be witnesses or have influence on a criminal investigation. Right now, there is a gap in the law and confusion amongst jurors about who can be intimidated and who is protected by the existing statute. This bill clarifies that a person can be intimidated prior to criminal charges, and somebody who has influence over a witness can also be subject to witness intimidation. It's a good public safety bill. I'd ask for your aye vote.
Representative Soper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just want to thank Representative Roberts. He gave a very good description of what we're trying to do here. It's really important that we don't allow someone to intimidate another person who would be a witness before criminal charges have actually been filed. So this is a good bill. It's one to crack down on crime. So I'd urge a yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 24. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed,
Aye.
no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 24 passes. Mr. Shebo, please read the title of the House Bill 1162.
House Bill 1162 by Representatives Exum and Van Winkle, concerning authorization to use digital number plates in lieu of metal number plates on a vehicle.
Representative Exum.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1162 and the committee report.
To the committee report.
Thank you. In the committee, we had one amendment with some great stakeholder work with Colorado State Patrol, and to identify some concerns they had, to set some standards and take a look at this after a year. And the stakeholders have agreed to continue to work with Colorado State Patrol. And we asked for an aye vote for the committee report.
Is there any further discussion on the transportation and local government report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of the Transportation Committee report. Those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The committee report passes. To the bill. Representative Exum.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm glad to be joined by my co-prime, Representative Van Winkle, on this bill. House Bill 1162 allows drivers the option to get a digital license plate. These plates do not have to be made by DOC. There's already a company making digital license plates. To get digital license plates from the company, there's an upfront cost. The plate up to about $1,000 for all of you that are making some extra cash out there, and a monthly service charge of $20 a month. What's nice about these plates is that they can easily be updated, so no more replacing registration stickers every year, and they can be used to display other messages showing if the car has been stolen or related to an Amber Alert. And I'll pass it on to my co-prime.
Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to our tremendous Chair of the Transportation Committee for bringing me onto this bill. He's been working very hard for several months on it. And really, we could talk all day about the technology and the things. I've asked 1,000 questions and got them all answered to my satisfaction. And simply, it allows consumers one more option for frankly, a luxury item for their cars if they want that option. If they don't, then you can get one of the other 100+ license plates that the state of Colorado offers. And it's tremendously helpful, especially for fleet management in our smaller businesses across Colorado.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of House Bill 1162. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. House Bill 1162 passes. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to lay over House Bill 1211 until tomorrow, March 1st.
House Bill 1211 will be laid over by the request of the Madam Majority Leader. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
What do I do? You have heard the motion. The committee will rise and report.
House will come back to order. Mr. Shebel, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee of the Whole begs leave to report has under consideration the following attached bills, being the second reading thereof and making the following recommendations thereon. House Bill 1032, 1162 is amended, passed on second reading and ordered engrossed and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Senate Bill 19, Senate Bill 24, passed on second reading, ordered revised and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1211, 1228 laid over until March 1st, 2022. House Bill 1095 laid over until March 4th, 2022.
Representative Amable or Doherty. You have heard the motion. There are no amendments at the desk. The question before us is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Shebel, please open the machine and members please proceed to vote. Representative Williams, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Williams votes no. Representative Hanks, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Hanks votes no. Representative Pico, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Pico votes no. Assistant Minority Leader Geithner, how do you vote? Come back. Representative Lynch, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Lynch votes no. Representative Soper, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Soper votes yes. Representative Pilton, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Pilton votes no. Representative Van Beber, how do you vote?
No.
Representative Van Beber votes no. Representative Caraveo, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Caraveo votes yes. Representative Titone, how do you vote?
Yes.
Representative Tone votes yes. Assistant Minority Leader Geithner, how do you vote?
No.
Assistant Minority Leader Geithner votes no. Wasn't Representative Mobley chairing the Committee of the Whole? How far did she get? Representative Mobley and Byrd are excused and issued a $5.12 fine. Please close the machine. 41 aye votes, 20 no votes, and 4 excused. The report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. That brings us to consideration of resolutions. Mr. Shebel, please read the title to Senate Joint Resolution 4.
Senate Joint Resolution 4 by Senators Gardner and Hansen, also Representatives Ortiz and Neville, concerning support for Ukraine against Russian aggression.
Representative Neville.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move Senate Joint Resolution 4 and ask that it be read at length.
Mr. Shebel.
Whereas the post-war international security order, led by the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, has relied upon diplomacy, peace, and open communication over armed conflict to ensure prosperity and stability for over 1 billion people for more than 70 years. And whereas, following the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Ukrainian people voted overwhelmingly to form a nation independent from Russia, building a democracy and a thriving country grounded in the rule of law. And whereas in 2014, the pro-Western Euromaidan protest movement in Ukraine led to the resignation of authoritarian President Viktor Yanukovych, a brutal ally of Vladimir Putin, ushering in democratically elected leaders who have sought closer ties to the European Union and to the United States. And whereas the Russian Federation, seeking to block the free will of the Ukrainian people in their pursuit of security, peace, and prosperity through closer ties to the European Union and the United States, annexed territory from Ukraine in 2014, and instigated, supported, and supplied a deadly separatist war in eastern Ukraine that has destabilized the region and killed thousands of civilians. And whereas the Russian Federation deployed military assets to support the separatist militias in the Donetsk and Luhansk regions, resulting in the reckless missile attack that downed Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 and killed 298 innocent civilians in 2014. And whereas Vladimir Putin intentionally lied to his own people and to the global community to create a false pretext to invade and occupy Ukraine, based on lies that Ukraine posed a threat to Russians and that falsely connected Ukraine and its political leaders to Nazism. And whereas the Russian Federation violated international peace and security agreements that sought a peaceful solution in eastern Ukraine and instead amassed hundreds of thousands of troops on Ukraine's border. And whereas Vladimir Putin has now launched an unjust and unwarranted invasion upon the peaceful nation of Ukraine. And whereas Russian soldiers are currently sweeping through the country, inflicting violence and terror upon millions of civilians and destroying homes, businesses, and properties. And whereas Ukraine is a proud and honorable nation under siege, and the brutality of this unnecessary and violent war is an affront to both international law and common decency. And whereas Ukraine has been a bulwark against Russian military aggression in Europe, and Vladimir Putin has said his goal is to recreate the Soviet Union and may have intentions to threaten NATO allies with military forces. And whereas Vladimir Putin has sought to destabilize countries across Europe and interfere in other countries' elections and democracies, including the United States. And whereas the United States has galvanized the international community and our allies to impose the strongest possible sanctions on Russia and its financial institutions in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And whereas Colorado is home to thousands of Ukrainian Americans and to millions who care deeply for and stand strongly in support of the Ukrainian people. And whereas Ukraine deserves the support of every American and the entire international community as it defends itself from this unprovoked Russian invasion, the largest attack by one state against another in Europe since World War II. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate of the 73rd General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the House of Representatives concurring herein, that we, the members of the Colorado General Assembly, proudly stand alongside Ukraine, its people, and its leaders during this horrific and unnecessary war, and vow to support Ukraine and hold Russia fully accountable for its catastrophic decision to invade. Condemn, in the strongest possible terms, Vladimir Putin's violent attack on the people of Ukraine, and strongly endorse the swift and severe economic sanctions and stringent export controls that President Biden's administration has imposed on Russia, and urge Russia to immediately cease its violent, illegal, and immoral assault upon Ukraine, end the needless bloodshed, and return to diplomacy and the rules-based international order that has ensured peace and prosperity for so many.
Representative Neville.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, please be seated. War for us in the United States, we've been lucky. Although we've been at war, most of that war has been far away from our families, been fought in foreign countries. We're obviously no stranger to that. But I take a look at what's happening in Ukraine, and I have to admire some of the courage. President Zelensky saying, "When you attack us, you will see our faces, not our backs." I don't need a ride. I need ammunition. You have to admire that kind of courage, and we bring this resolution forward today to show our support to the Ukrainian people that are fighting this and to show that we are with them, our prayers are with them, and we admire their courage and hope that they prevail during this difficult time for their country.
Thank you, Representative Neville. Representative Ortiz.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I'm honored to be on this resolution with brother veteran and peer Representative Neville, because I'm going to follow the precedent that he already started setting, because this is about stories. This is about individual stories and how it impacts people. There's a cliche or a quote out there that says, "A true champion is a true champion. They go fight, and win or lose, they give their all." That's what we're seeing from the Ukrainian people, folks. That's what we're seeing right now, whether we're talking about President Zelensky, who was a comedian and made a movie about a school teacher that wanted to fight corruption and would go on in this movie to win the presidency, life imitating art. Representative Neville already talked about some of the brave comments that he made, but let's talk about Vitaly excuse me if I mispronounce this, Volodymyrovich. He was an engineer that was tasked with mining the bridge, one of the bridges, when a Russian tank column started to storm that bridge. We got off the bridge, he realized that he would not be able to get safely out of the blast zone and decided to go ahead and set off the explosives as his last act to slow down that Russian tank column. We can't not talk about the ghost of Kiev. Not since World War II has there been an ace, taking out 6 pilots by themselves. The Ukrainian military being underestimated at every step, but you have the amazing skills of this one pilot giving the people hope and taking the fight to them. I think of the courage of a brave grandmother who approached Russian soldiers, calling them fascists, telling them to get out of her country, and then at the end saying, well, at least have the courtesy to put sunflower seeds in your pockets, so that when you lie and die, at least sunflowers will grow in their place. Members, I'm talking about these stories not to glorify violence, because those of us that have seen combat knows how terrible it is. It is to point out the inspiring fight that are within the Ukrainian people. And we must do everything we can, even though we be yet humble and simple state legislators, to support the people of Ukraine and to urge our federal delegation and this administration to do everything that we can to support the Ukrainian people, whether it's to increase the amount of javelins and stingers that we're sending them, whether it's to work to isolate Russia and possibly kick them out of the UN Security Council. They are no friend of peace. Vladimir Putin has not been a friend of peace since he first got there. And as Representative Neville said, make no mistakes, this war is fueled by one person's ego to return Russia to a lost era of Soviet Union glory, as he would put it forward. Folks, we're talking about democratically free nations. We're not talking about the pullout in Afghanistan either. These people are standing up and fighting. They are giving their all civilians are making Molotov cocktails, getting ready for what is going to be a grueling guerrilla fight. And we here in the state of Colorado need to do everything that we can. We here as a nation, united across the aisle, need to do everything we can to support the Ukrainian people and to fight and suppress the ego and ambitions of a thug tyrant in Vladimir Putin.
Thank you, Representative Ortiz. Representative Holtorf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the bill sponsors for this resolution and their impactful comments that they made, both as veterans, both as combat veterans, both understanding what it is to fight in a war and fight for what you believe in. But what I really want to point out, ladies and gentlemen, is why Ukrainians fight and how they are fearless. You've heard me say this word before, how they are fearless to fight for their freedom. They understand, having been under Soviet control, communist control, which is fiction. There's no representative government in that. And then they have tasted freedom. And if you've never had freedom and you've tasted freedom, you know how precious and valuable it is. So they stand and fight, unafraid to protect what is theirs, their country of Ukraine. I am so proud of the fighters that are fighting for freedom. We all stand behind them. And let us understand that we should be inspired and motivated by their patriotism. Because oftentimes we wonder in our country what happens to our patriotism. Are we losing what is America, what we stand for, Old Glory, our history, our struggles to defeat the British in the Revolutionary War, and our struggles for many years to fight against communism? I have been sitting in the back seat and the front seat of an attack helicopter facing German borders, which we used to call the Fulda Gap. I have seen Russian generals in my formation watching us during the last reforger exercise in the Federal Republic of Germany, knowing that they knew that they were defeated by the power and might of the United States of America and our technological abilities. Let this be a lesson to us, and let us learn from the patriotism, the valor, the courage, and the fearlessness of the Ukrainian people as they fight despotism and a ruler that was very well described by my colleague Representative Ortiz for what he really is. And I want to say one more thing. For those that say the former Soviet Union, Russia's fighting Nazism, I say this: their president is a Jewish Ukrainian. There is nothing about Nazism in who is the leader of that country. In fact, it is exactly the opposite. So thank you, gentlemen. And I thank every person who is fighting for the country of Ukraine, and God bless them in their fight.
Thank you, Representative Holtorf. Representative McCormick.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Many of us have parents or grandparents that during World War II went through a tremendous time where they had to be rationed for sugar, for fuel, for many other things. And I'm glad to see that we can stand here today and minimize any partisanship that we have and come together over this issue. We know that the blame lies with Vladimir Putin, not with any one party in our country. And Putin's problem is the independence of a country that he believes should not exist. Russia does not have a large economy relative to its size and population. Dramatic economic action can increase cost here at home. We should bear that cost and related costs of disrupting the Russian economy and their place in the world economy. Putin may be banking on our unwillingness to bear any real consequences here at home in defense of the world order. And I'm asking each and every one of us today to bear those costs and to prove him wrong.
Thank you, Representative McCormick. Representative Luck.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. A pastor sent out this message, and I thought it might encourage you. It says, "Please tell your people, because of their prayers, God really fights our battles. The rockets disappear in the air without reaching our homes, and no one knows where did they go. Enemy tanks run out of fuel. Russian troops get lost and ask our locals for food and for directions. That is definitely God, because we are dealing with the second strongest army in the world. And this morning, Kiev and other major cities are still free, and we in Lviv did not have to run to the basements. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you all in this room for continuing in prayer for Ukraine."
Representative Cutter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think many of us were watching over the weekend and seeing the stories of bravery and courage and heart by the Ukrainian people. And I just have been so touched by it and agree completely with Representative McCormick. We have to make the sacrifices we need to do to support these brave people. And I came across this story that I wanted to share. Father Zelensky is coordinator of military chaplains for the Ukrainian Catholic Church. He ministered full-time with troops on the front in eastern Ukraine from 2014 to 2018 before taking on the coordinating role. And he said, "We must help those good, them choose good." In speaking about the soldiers, he said, "We must help them choose good, seek truth, promote justice, and contemplate beauty." He continued, "These are the essential for preserving their humanity. We can solve so many problems if we can preserve our humanity, especially in the chaos of war." And I think the Ukrainian people have demonstrated that beautifully.
Representative Weissman.
Thanks, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate both sponsors bringing this forward to us. You know, members, this strikes me as a strange and unusual issue because it's so far outside of our usual ambit. And frankly, as I've contemplated this situation over the past week, and this resolution feels pretty powerless, you know, from the standpoint of a state legislator when we see an issue of such kind of grievous moral weight and human cost going on halfway across the world. That said, I'm very glad that we're doing this resolution. We should be. I'm glad that our state is acting in ways that it can, the announcements from the governor and the treasurer in terms of financial involvements and so forth. But I wanted to share a few other things I've been thinking, which is that as a representative of our state's most diverse community, you know, when I walk around and visit with constituents, as we all do, I see Ukrainian flags flying. I have knocked on doors, I have spoken with people who have a Ukrainian flag outside on their home because that's their ancestry. You know, I don't know that we all have been able to see that, but I have, and the last week, just the image of that street, I think has not been too far from my mind because I've been thinking about families like that in Aurora and elsewhere and how much they might be worrying, you know, for people they have back home. You know, over the centuries, when Eastern Europe is convulsed, there are emanations throughout Europe and in our country. I'm here today because in a prior time when Eastern Europe was convulsed, some of the people who fled that place, that time, and came to this country were my grandparents and great-grandparents. And obviously, we already see that people are fleeing Ukraine now and will continue to, and God knows how long this is going to go on and how many people are going to be displaced. But in answer to the question, you know, what can we do here? What can we do as state legislators in an issue of national and international consequence? I think that is something that we can do, particularly those of us who have benefited from the opportunities, the safe harbor that our country has afforded in the past, when our ancestors, be they one or several generations back, had to flee their own homes. we can pay that forward by understanding what it is that drives people from their home and try to meet people from Ukraine or other nearby countries who may find themselves coming to Colorado with understanding and warmth and sympathy. I think that is how we at the state level can honor and contribute to what's going on and also, honor our own past. Thank you.
Representative A. Valdez.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I really felt compelled to rise in support today after watching coverage this weekend, and specifically coverage showing a Russian tank running over a civilian who was just driving down the road. And what I want to say is that when countries go to war, and that's not what this is one country invading another, violating their sovereignty, and attacking civilians. And it's in moments like this where I'm very proud to be an American, because we stand firm behind people to fight for their own independence of their nation against a country who would come in and kill innocent people. And I share the hope of all of us that this ends quickly and that the consequences are severe for Putin and anybody who props him up. And I wish the people of Ukraine luck in defeating this barbarous invading nation. Thank you.
Minority Leader McKean.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also rise in support. But while I was looking at all the coverage of Ukraine, I was taken by another story that I saw. And it makes me realize that we're entering into a time in this world, around the globe, of unfettered desire for control and power. A United States destroyer made its way through the Straits of Taiwan this weekend. And China immediately reacted to that and said it was an act of aggression. So thank you for bringing this resolution. I think it highlights exactly what we didn't see in many ways in the early 1940s, when truly we watched Poland be taken, we watched Czechoslovakia be taken, and we came late to say no more. And so in many ways I appreciate that, but I also fear that this is the first of several resolutions saying, do not go and occupy sovereign nations. Our relationship with the country of Taiwan is very special. Very special. It's where Chiang Kai-shek retreated to and created a nation of his own. And to be very honest, it is a subject, just like Ukraine and Russia, of a long-standing series of disputes. But listen carefully at this moment in time. As we see Russia invade Ukraine, you are seeing other countries preparing themselves to go take what they want. To my right honorable colleague who said the United States of America stands for countries that stand up and fight for their independence and create nations of themselves, we do. And we will, and we must. That's what this resolution says to me. We must. We must stand. We must be heard. And here's little old Colorado, one of 50 little countries that band together as the United States of America, standing up to say, this isn't right. Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing this.
Further discussion on Senate Joint Resolution 4. Seeing none, is there Representative Ricks?
Thank you. I had to rise to stand with the Ukrainian people, but I also want to ask for the African students and those that are there in Poland, in Ukraine. We're hearing that they are not letting them on the trains to get out to the borders to escape, and I just don't think this is a time for racism. So we really encourage them to let students and people who are non-white get out of Ukraine to safety.
Is there further discussion on Senate Joint Resolution 4? Seeing none, is there objection to a voice vote? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Joint Resolution 4. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Joint Resolution 4 is adopted. Representative Ortiz.
Mr. Speaker, we move that today's roll call be added as co-sponsors to the resolution.
Seeing no objection, this morning's roll call will be added as co-sponsors. Further announcements and introductions. I believe that brings us to the end of the calendar. Seeing none, Majority Leader Escar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the House stand in recess until later today.
Seeing no objection, the House will stand in recess until later today.